got buried underneath a thick heap of debris, and those who survived also were affected and required health services. And immediate response was one of the prerequisites to save lives. But then there are situations where the accessibility, remoteness, and the difficulties of operation actually delays the safety operations and also the search and rescue activities. So what disaster management has been envisaged under the Act is that we should plan, organize, coordinate, and implement different measures which are required for saving lives, be it in a pre-disaster situation in terms of our prevention, protection, mitigation measures, or be it in terms of response activities, immediate response and relief measures or rehabilitation actions, or in terms of post-disaster activities, which we go for reconstruction, relocation, and recovery or redevelopment operations. So now this particular theme of incident response system is very much important, particularly in the disaster situations. And if an appropriate coordination is not done, because there are too many actors to play, so therefore, if they are not in harmony with each other and don't listen and act together like an orchestra, no, when they have a different musicians and a singer and others, if they're not playing well, then the harmony will be lost. So therefore, we will not enjoy that. And there, in these cases also, we have emergency support functions, wherein we require people who can carry out operations and also people who can support those operations in terms of resource and logistics that are required to carry out those operations. So be it physical, be it financial, or be it technical requirements, everything needs to be working together. So I'm just showing you a case how we have been trying to deal with these kind of disaster situations where health emergencies arise, and then there is a lot of crowd and chaos that happens at the hospitals and at the disaster sites. So if these people are not controlled and adequate command and coordination is not done, then we will be having a lot of problems in these areas. So just let me go ahead with the other parts of the presentation. I'll just bring this down. As told by my colleague, Dr. Yogesh, that incident response system actually came out from the fire department, USFS, who used to face a lot of big challenges in terms of huge number of wildfires that were striking the US. And then they had to manage it using some system which can actually control, which they named it as incident command system, where the command coordination and collaborations were done in a very systematic manner with pool of resources where roles and responsibilities of each stakeholder was well defined. So this was taken up as a systematic, proactive approach, guiding all concerned departments and agencies at every level, be it private, be it government, or be it non-governmental organizations, to work flawlessly in an emergency and disaster situation. So that was the main purpose of devising this particular method approach. The mission required coordination amongst different organizations. Now, what happens most oftenly, these people have not interacted or familiarized with each other, and they are often at the same levels. So there is often a tendency for insubordination. So if this system is not in place, the command from one person who is the incident commander or a responsible officer will not be followed by other people who are working at the same levels in other departments. So therefore, it was thought of that how several different agencies and departments and officials who come together to act upon a given situation can actually collaborate and coordinate and go in a very systematic command and coordination mechanism model. So India, while looking for such best practices way back in 2005 to 10, studied many of such practices which were being followed in different countries. And we came out with a example of the incident command system, which had 4 different sections initially. And we tried to modify it according to our conditions and renamed it as incident response system. There were other names also which were prevalent, particularly in health sector, which was termed as incident management system 2. But broadly, all these systems, whether it is ICS, IMS or IRS, they had the similar structure and mechanisms to follow for disaster response. One is that this had an advantage that there was single command line. So the roles and responsibilities were well defined because this did not create any confusions or conflicts among the roles and responsibilities in those situations. So they were all well defined and made very clear about those resources, roles and responsibilities. Then this system actually was devised right to cater to the needs of a small incident at local levels to a larger incident at national and even international levels, which you have witnessed during the COVID-19 too. And small incidents like landslides and floods, which have been happening in our country at parts. So this is the kind of scalability that is possible right from the grassroots levels to the national and international levels. Then there is often a confusion, as Dr. Yogesh also pointed out, that they have a specific terminology which they are conversant with during their education and during their profession. But at the time of coming together with other stakeholders, they have to learn other terms as well, so that everybody understands the same thing by the same word and applies in the same manner. So therefore, a standard terminology for communication has been devised through this incident response system, and also the resources management. Now, resources are lying, as also pointed about Dr. Yogesh, with different organizations. So now we have to bring them together, mobilize them together and acquire them. So we need to know where they're lying and who is the responsible officer for that. For these purposes, NIDM actually started with the India Disaster Resources Network. You can see a portal, idrn.nidm.gov.in. And this resources inventory helps us to locate those resources and acquire those resources as quickly as possible. Then our memories are very short because we forget as soon as the incident is over. So documentation is one of the most important activities so that we can always recall the lessons that we have learned from the past cases of disasters. So documentation has also made an essential under the incident response system. Further, in order to bring better and effective coordination, we involve all agencies. There is an interagency coordination which is required under the incident response system. So these are all things that are part of the incident response system. Now, the Disaster Management Act 2005 actually envisaged establishment of disaster management authorities at all levels, that is at national level, National Disaster Management Authority, at state level, State Disaster Management Authority. then the District Disaster Management Authority, and there now after the amendment during this March, the Urban Disaster Management Authority. Now these authorities have well-defined constitution and compositions as well as the mandates defined under the Act. The NDMA is responsible for policy, guidelines, and plans at the national level, and it issued guidelines for the incident response system way back in July 2010. This was well clarified that in order to manage our disaster incidents, the states need to adopt and implement the incident response system. The incident response system actually required the incident response teams in the field. So in this direction, as per DM Act, the designations of different officials who would be made responsible for a particular action at particular level, they have also been defined. And responsible officer is often the chief secretary of the state, who is the most empowered executive. And in the districts, it's the district magistrate. And similarly, at the local levels, it's the municipal officer at the level of municipal corporations in the urban areas. Look into this structure. As I said, responsible officer, if you are talking about the state, because disaster management is a state subject, is often the chief secretary. Incident commander in the state would be the secretary revenue and disaster management, and then he will be supported by the section chiefs at operation level, planning level, and the logistics levels. And each of these chiefs will have their branch leaders, and this branch will have different group leaders. So this is how the command systems goes in incident response system. So overall, this structure, this has already been discussed, so I'll not repeat. Except for the air operations, there is a separate officer. Rest all are well integrated into that system, which is followed in incident response. Besides the section chiefs, there are three other important officials who are there to support the incident commander. Incident and media officer, who is often from the information services, and then they have a liaising officer for coordination with different departments, and a safety officer to look into safety and security related issues at the local level. And often the incident commander is also supported by a deputy incident commander, who is often an additional district magistrate level person. Now, in order to activate, whenever information goes to the emergency operation center, it is sent to the responsible officer. Now, responsible officer will activate the incident response system, and incident response system, once activated, will give directions to the respective incident commanders to initiate actions. So the first thing would be to get the briefing about that incident, how big it is, where it is, and what are the impacts, and what are the actions taken, what actions are desirable, what are the resources available, where are the gaps in those resources. All that will be put up in the form of incident response form 001, where briefing is well coordinated in a structured manner, so that all the information is acquired, and then discussions are held with other section chiefs, and thereafter an incident command post is established near to the site of the disaster area. Then thereafter, the logistics section starts the resource mobilization, coordination with line departments, and also acquire all other resources which are desirable. Whereas the planning section starts the planning works in terms of the kind and the type of the incident, and supports the operation sections in carrying out their activities. Operation sections will have one which is response, other is transportation branch, to acquire and place those resources at an appropriate staging area. Now, role of different stakeholders is also well defined, and the lead agencies on the ground, because there are first thing, if you are to have a staging area, the acquisition of a ground where you can place those resources which are required for response purposes. So the district administration, it will provide the ground response and logistics. Then the response forces who are to carry out the response actions, it can be National Disaster Response Force, or it may be personnel from our State Disaster Response Force, or at the district level, sometimes quick response teams. They have also been formed, so they can be there. So either QRT or SDRF or NDRF, they will go for search and rescue operations when the incident strikes, and also seek the technical support from the technical professionals in order to carry out those response activities. Then the other local departments who can provide security and other resources include the police, fire services, health department, and public works department. These are often considered as support functions. There are around 14 such emergency support functions which are required to play their important role in terms of resources required in the disaster situations. Besides these emergency support function departments, we have NGOs, we have CBOs, community-based organizations, we have other voluntary organizations like Red Cross and civil society bodies, which also provide and extend support in terms of relief, shelter, and logistics. Further, the decentralization process has also ensured the role of PRIs and ULBs. So therefore, they can also extend the support in terms of outreach for early dissemination and last mile connectivity. So these are some of these actions which are collectively required from different stakeholders. And for the purpose of implementation, the state SDMs, they are expected to notify this. I'm just showing you one of the notifications which was done way back in 2014 by the State Disaster Management Authority from Government of Assam, that they are implementing. And you can see for each of these IRS, they have defined a particular responsible officer or the duties as designated. For example, for responsible officer, they said Chief Secretary to the Government of Assam. Then for the incident commander, it would be the senior most secretary in terms of revenue disaster management. And then for air operations, it will be the transport department, because transport department can look into air, road, rail, or sea or water routes, which can be easily taken care by that kind of nodal officer. And for the information and media officer, it is the public relations officer. Then liaisoning is often done by the DGP or by the chief executive officer, and DGP is the safety officer. Then planning section chief and logistics, each duties are well defined. I will not go more detail because there is shortage of time and we had a time bound webinar. But let me give you that this kind of adoption of the incident response system within the country by the State Disaster Management Authority has actually helped us a lot. Previously, wherever we had to have exhibitions, fairs, festivals, or get-togethers, there were a lot of stampedes and also the difficulties in crowd management. And now with the implementation of incident response system in the states, the very big melas like the Kumbh Mela, Maha Kumbh during 2025 in Prayagraj. It could be managed without much casualties, and we could do implementation of incident response system in that. And this has been well taken care and proven to be very effective in terms of management of incidents whenever, wherever they happen. So this was one of the examples. Then we have many other examples. I recall June 2023, we had a major cyclone, a Biparjoy cyclone in the state of Gujarat. Then in Ludhiana, we had in April 2023, we had the gas leakage. And then Amarnath Yatra 2022, we had an incident of a flash flood. Then Morbi bridge collapse in Gujarat, and COVID-19, all of you are well aware, from 2020 to 2022, and also the forest fires in Uttarakhand and Kerala floods during 2018. All are such examples where the incident response system was implemented and proven to be very effective in terms of the command control coordination system under this particular mechanism. Then its integration with the EOCs. EOCs nowadays, now Digital India also started with some mobile applications where even the actions, first the reporting from the crowdsourcing and also the state of actions till the emergencies or crises are overcome are well monitored using those applications. And then use of data from the Indian disaster resources network, and also the digital tools like the dashboards during COVID-19 you may have seen, and use of the web geographic information systems based web platforms for decision making and analysis and looking into the trends were found to be very useful. Then in order to enhance its effectiveness and widespread use, NDMA guidelines way back in July 2010, and NIDM actually published training modules. Around 10 relevant such training modules have been prepared by NIDM, which is one of the nodal institutions for training on IRS, and also conducted those trainings for senior officials, command staff, as well as the other levels of officials, and capacity development of responsible officers, incident commanders, section chiefs, and the general staff was also planned. This is not enough to do just the trainings. We have also done hands-on exercise and practical mock exercises and mock drills, as well as some of the simulation exercises at state and district levels. I would, because of shortage of time, we are not able to go in depth. So therefore, I would suggest the audience to kindly go to the NDMA website, ndma.gov.in, where you can go to the guidelines and download this July 2010 guideline on incident response system, which has been by NDMA under Section 6 of the Disaster Management Act as part of their responsibilities. Then there are other information. For example, the Assam State Disaster Management Authority also published a handbook, which is also available on the link which has been provided by us in this presentation. That is Kachar, char.assam.gov.in, from where you can find the IRS handbook too. And all these modules which pertain to the training for logistics section chief, for the operations section chief, incident commander, integrated planning section chief, the basic and intermediate incident response systems training, safety officers training, liaison officer training, area command training, and advanced IRS, along with integrated planning section course training modules. They are all available at nidm.gov.in. You can go to the publication section and can download these modules from this website. So friends, here now I would conclude that incident response system does promote coordination, command and control with efficiency and timely decisions. Regular trainings and refresher courses, they are very much required because we are joined with new officials and also the officials who have been working, they are engaged with many other different activities. They also need to refresh their knowledge and also carry out some mock drills exercises as well. Integration with emerging technology is very much required nowadays. The applications of GIS, ML, DRN, drones, etc. has become prevalent, and therefore we need to integrate these resources. In terms of resources, we have different type of teams that are built into the incident response system. One are the strike teams, which use the specific type and kind of resources, and there are also the task forces which are having a dedicated task using different type of resources. But there are single resources teams as well, where the specific type of resources are used by those particular stakeholders. Then community participation is inevitable and is very much desirable, and also the local level governance in terms of incident response system through Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies is highly desirable. So with these words, I thank you for this opportunity and hope we can work together as a team and also support each other as part of incident response system. So thank you very much.